Okay, apparently we're just now starting with audio. Been talking to myself for the last 50 minutes on a previous video that I was making. So, all of the content in there that I already included and talked through, I think I'll probably just skip a lot of that in this one. We'll just try to find our entry here. Hopefully, you kind of know what we're after. Still looking for this quad rotation on the 4 stochastics. I'm not getting it. We should be looking for a bounce though here. We just need some volume, and you now see I've got a good ramping volume. I've got a V on this 9, 14, not quite a V, but start of a U on the 40 stochastic. And you can see the 5 minutes now above the 50. So I don't love these levels here. I think it's just going to continue to consolidate a little bit. We're going to keep pushing. We need to get a little bit more in our favor here as far as oversold. Okay. 5 minutes trending down. Don't love that. And you can see the 40, 14, and the 9 are all now hooking back up. Again, significant level here as we're coming off of this bounce, and I zoomed back and went clear back as far back as TradeZella would let me go. By the way, I've realized now that all of my pitching of TradeZella, by the way, I'm not sponsored by them. This is not, I don't get any money from them, not affiliated at all. Paying for my own subscription. Just great, a great service, a great platform to be able to do this kind of back testing. So that's what I talked about in my first video that didn't record audio. Just so many different options in here. And what I was calling out at the first of the video is that we really, as traders, tend to, I know some, I shouldn't call out all, but a lot of people just don't focus too much on back testing. And you really should have thousands of back-tested trades. Now, I've got a different trading session, back-testing session inside of TradeZella on MNQ. That's what I have been trading for the last maybe 6 months. It's been my primary instrument. I'm moving over to MES because I realized that there's just too much volatility and I get smoked often, especially with my tight stop losses, even though the trade is valid, okay? So we're looking for, let me review now that I realize half of them may not have come through. We've got our VWAP here coming down. We're looking for breaks of channels, so we're no longer trending down. It's a significant level zone. I'm not calling them, it's not a level, right? It's more a zone. So you could put the line here to here. How many touch points do you have? A lot, right? You've got some back over here that pushed down off of. You've got some resistance levels that it rejected. Lots of rejected there. Lots of different levels that this seems to play off of. And that's what you want to look for. You need significant levels looking left. Breaking your trend. Now it wants to start a new channel up, right? We're below the VWAP, but we need a break of this 9 EMA. That's my line down here, my green line going through all of these candles. Ramp up in volume, in bearish volume, or bullish volume, excuse me, and then hooking in the 9, 14, and at least the 40 stochastics into this level. Now the 60 stochastic, the 5 minute, can stay within this range, but I'd love it if it were a little bit more hooking up as well, not trending down. You'll find that 60 stochastic is really a better indicator of this will carry some some volume all the way through up to this other range. But now we've got our break of the 9 EMA. We've got a ramp up from bearish volume to bullish to more bullish. I'm going to throw down some lots on this one because I'm so frustrated that we didn't get recording on the rest. Let's go 1%. I'm going to throw 1% on it. 25 tick stop. It's not quite a 2-to-1. I talked about that a little bit. Yes, I get the 2-to-1 ratio. I understand why people would recommend it. Don't disagree. In fact, in this case, I am going to take it to a 2-to-1. So if I'm at 25 ticks, I'm going to bump this up. That might be about 20 ticks there. 400 to 800. Let's go. That's almost 1,000 actually. How's that for your 2-to-1? What I play off of is not necessarily a consistent 2-to-1. I play off of what the market is going to give me. Now, I'll pay attention to what the volume is doing. If it continues to ramp up in bullish volume, I'll stay in. 9 stochastic is also a level I watch. If it gets into this overbought territory above 80 and seems like the volume is saying running out of momentum, then I want to get out. That top 80 level is usually a good indicator to close out my trade and not get greedy. That's what it comes down to. Again, if this were already shaping up a little bit, I'd have more confidence and could actually carry all the way through the top level of the 60 stochastic to 80. That's when you get those big moves clear to the other level of support or resistance. We'll watch for that VWAP too. In fact, just kind of tailoring this take profit to close to the VWAP. The VWAP line is where I expect it to reject or at least hesitate. Let's see how this plays out here. I don't love that it didn't immediately go in my favor. Yeah, did not immediately go in my favor. Typically, that's what happens with this strategy. If I'm wrong, it immediately goes in my favor. And if I'm wrong, it immediately breaks back to the lower side. For obvious reasons, right? Because really what I'm looking at is a hopeful reversal of this trend. It's been a downward trend. But if I want that reversal, I need to wait until it's broken out of the channel. I need to make sure it's consolidating. I need to make sure it's consistent or a significant level. But what you see is this 9 EMA can look like it's going to break and fake you out. And it's actually just a pullback before it makes a lower low. That's why I got smoked on that one. Right? That's a significant level of volume that now came in. Now we're going to watch for another one. It's still into oversold territory, which is great. Let's watch for a little bit of a flip in volume here. Okay, a little bit of a flip in volume. I don't love that this is a downtrend as far as a volume candles. Yes, they're bearish and it broke the 9 EMA, but my guess is this is a pullback and it's going to go to a lower. It's going to break back below that 9 EMA. Look at that bearish candle. All right, we're more into consolidation though than a break lower, which is good. Okay, we're in the middle of this level here on the 9 stochastic, so no trade because it's not a quad rotation. I need these levels to all be oversold, 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 right? Let me pause this here a little bit. You see this one is a flip now from our bearish volume up to bullish volume. You've got a break of the 9 EMA. But I don't love that I don't see my on-ramp, I call it. The off-ramp is to the lower side, right? This is an off-ramp where it's coming down. On-ramp is going up. It's not an on-ramp. It's just kind of flat. Not a good sign usually for me. And we're nowhere near the quad rotation. We're way up into that level. So I'm going to let this play. Okay. Again, not really my trade. We're not into that oversold territory, looking for that bounce. Now we've got a good V here on the 9 and 14 stochastic. We've got a ramp up from bearish to bullish volume, looking for a break of that 9 EMA. By the way, the 60 stochastic is just into the 20. I like that. I do, when it's in oversold territory, that 5-minute can really drag this whole thing down. We've seen significant movement down, right? It seems like the market's going to want to give some of that back, a 50% correction for the day, you could say. If you get into Fibonacci's, all of that, I know people are into that. I don't really do Fibonacci. My first coach was actually big into Fibonacci's. I think they're fine. Nothing against them. Just doesn't add anything to my trade, to my strategy. I don't love that this volume is actually a little bit lower. For the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and take this. I don't love this trade. It's definitely not an A setup. It could be a B setup because I do have the bounce. I've got a flip in volume. It's just not that ramp up in volume anymore now that I've got my break of the 9 EMA. So I don't have high confidence in this. Again, this strategy typically goes my way pretty quick in a near explosive way. Now it's breaking back below that 9 EMA, and I'm really losing interest here. I think I'm going to close this out. Better to take a small loss than it is to let it hit that stop loss because, again, this strategy, I know when it's going to go my way. This isn't it yet. And it's even looking like it's going to hook back off of these 9, 14 stochastics, right? I'm going to close this position. Let's try another one. See if we can find another one. Get back into this territory, and there's your break lower. Now where are we at? Ramp off, not on ramp. Don't love that. In fact, I think that's probably going to be a turn back down and a break lower. It's just a little bit of a pullback before it breaks lower. And I'd be wrong. Wouldn't you know it? Market loves to make you look stupid. That was the trade, really. It wasn't exactly all of my requirements for an A setup. You could call that a B setup. I had everything else working for me. I had the quad rotation in oversold territory, jump back in above the 20. I just didn't love the volume and the fact that it has continued to do that. Just to give you an idea, though, let's go back a couple of bars and I'll show you what could have potentially made here. And yes, we already know kind of where it ended up, that it's a good trade, but I just want to show you a little bit more of a successful trade, what this looks like even if it's a B setup. So we'll pull the 25 tick stop loss. Let's leave it at 40. That takes it right to the top of this level, which again is kind of the goal. We're going to watch this 9 stochastic though. Let's see what it does, because it may indicate that we want to get out even faster. Okay, now we've got significant move up in volume. It did my auto break even, which you see over here at 1R. So we're at 506. I know this is really hard to see. I wish I could figure out how to change this. Maybe it's just my black background, but man, I really have a hard time reading. They're hyper green on top of the black with white in the background. Don't quite understand that, TradeZella. So we're seeing some decrease in volume here, but I'm still well above that 9 EMA, and as long as that 9 EMA is carrying, that's the new trend. I can stay in a little bit longer, and we have the tick up that I was looking for on the 5-minute stochastic as well. I'm going to let this run one more, maybe two more candles. And we'll go ahead, and you can see now that's what I consider my off ramp. See how we've got declining volume? That's not a good sign. You want to take your profits. That's the biggest thing to me is, and I fall into this all the time. I fall prey to the greed of just, no, I got to stay in. I tell you what I'll do. I'm going to go ahead and close. I could close 50% of it, but I'm just going to take my profits and go. Tell you what, I'll do the 50. Let's see if it hits my take profit. I'm really close to it, but why let it reverse off of there? It was going to hit it anyway. Fantastic. Now you've hit the top of the range. You get the idea. Now you're going to see a little bit of a rollover. It looks like it's going to want to. And yes, if you're looking at this thinking, why aren't I following the trend? Why don't you take this as an indication that now you should be looking for overbought conditions and sell? Yes, you absolutely could. By the way, my indicator does kind of tell me that. Based on the previous divergence, it will actually indicate whether you should be looking at buys or sells. So inside of TradeZella, I don't have that indicator, but I do in TradingView. That's what I use for my New York trading sessions when I trade live. Hope that all makes sense. I'm going to leave it there. I may do some more backtesting videos. But shout out to TradeZella again. Thank you for making this super easy to do. It saves all of your trades for you. We want to give you an idea what this looks like, right? Here's my MNQ backtesting. I'm 25% through this. So again, my goal is 30 or 1,000 trades per instrument is really what I'm after. Same strategy in both. And I'm up 26,000 over only 25% of the year in that back testing. So good stats here. They've got a dashboard you can come into, see your profit factor, your trade win percentage, all of that. Peace out. We'll catch you in the next video.